user experience design primarily is how the users think and how it is embedded in our day-to-day life. I love to talk about doors in the class, and that is a perfect example because 90% of us have stumbled upon struggle whether we are supposed to pull the door or push the door to open it. It has the design elements that gives the wrong usability signals. Like whenever we see a screen, or a door with handles in it, our natural tendency is to pull it open. We will never even do a gesture of a push because we see a handle and we use the handles in the drawers. We always use the handle to open a drawer. We have seen the cabinets. We always pull a handle to open a cabinet. There is hardly any example that we have surrounding us which requires a handle to push open something, right? So we have stumbled upon this issue almost, at least not very often, but once or twice in our lives, right? Similar issues can be found in our everyday objects as well, like turning the light switches off. In America, especially, we turn the light on by putting it upwards. But in Asian countries and European countries, it is the other way around. When something is up means that's off, and the knob of the light bulb or a light control is down, that means it is on. It's the other way around here, right? So we frequently visit or encounter the counterintuitive functions and modes of operations of things around us. This is another example. Although we have the handles on the doors here, there is clear instructions written that we have to push open the door. Very counterintuitive. Our cognitive brain psychology says that, oh, it's a handle I need to pull, but the instructions are saying otherwise. So Mr. Don Norman, who is known as the father of user experience design, who brought the user experience design to everyday understanding, came up with this notion which we call a Norman door. That means where door can open mostly on the one side, but when it is to open with a push, do not have a handle on it, but it should be a flat surface, which gives a very clear indication to the user that they have to put their palm on the pad to make the door open. Versus when it is supposed to be pulled, then provide a handle because it provides a grip for the user to open the door. So very common everyday scenarios that we see in our day-to-day lives, which constitutes to user experience design. And user experience design is not only how we see and perceive it as in digital or the computerized world. It is existing in our day-to-day life. Product design is also an offering of the user experience design, where user experience is a big part of the product. So having gone through one of the examples, let's go in for a definition of what is user experience. So user experience, simply put, is how a person feels when they are interacting with a product, a system, or any equipment in their lives. Are they happy? Are they feeling delighted? Are they frustrated? So the feelings is a main aspect of user experience design. Now, if we are talking about the feeling here, we don't know how to design for feeling, right? So if the user experience is a feeling, then how we design the user experience for it. Let us take another example. So we are given a bit of cutlery here. We have kitchen tools like knives, forks, different types of knives, different types of forks, spoons, eating spoon, dessert spoon, steak knife, serrated knife. It's a combination of utensils given in front of us. If we have to arrange it logically, a common sense would arrange the forks together, the knives together, and the spoons together, right? That is how we would very instinctively go to arrange these utensils. Some of us would arrange it and for better understanding, give a label to it, like this is a dessert fork, this is a salad fork, this is a cheese knife, this is a dinner knife, so that the users have an understanding by its shape and structure that what it could be used for. But again, we are expecting a lot from the users to imagine and remember these things, right? A user experience designer would instead remove the clutter, bring in the stuff that is needed at the time of the user taking an action. So the scenario here is the user is about to sit on a dinner table. So we have only used one knife, a regular spoon, and a dessert spoon and a soup spoon, and we have three kinds of knife. But we have included the other elements like the napkin, the plates, the different types of plates, and here for different things. So making an experience delighted for the user and understanding what the users need to complete a task is what the user experience design is all about. So a true user experience actually goes above and beyond, giving the customers what they think they want. It's sometimes like some users don't even know what they would need for that. But the job of a good user experience designer is to have the empathy from the users, like what is it that the users are looking for, and provide it to them without them asking for it. So let's see what the user experience design is not. So user experience design is not an interface design. User experience design is a bigger picture, and UI or user interface design is only a part of it. The other parts of user experience design are interaction design. Design thinking is also a methodology that is used, which is also a subset of user experience design. So user experience, UX and UI design, you must have heard these acronyms very interchangeably, but they do have a different function within the world of user experience. User experience combines multiple things together. User interface design is only a part of it. Like I said, it is a step-in process. It is not a step-in process, but it is a process itself, which includes multiple steps. It is not just about technology. It is about the user behavior. It is about how we live. It is about everything we do. We are surrounded by it, right? So like the example of the door and the knives that we used, we do not need technology to make it right and experience delightful for the users. We have to know about the cognitive science in terms of how the users think and how the what is a typical user's pattern to eat, right? Where to put the spoons. The spoons are to be on the right, and the knife is to be on the right, and the forks need to be on the left. That's a pretty general phenomenon that has brought us to a point that there are certain things that we assume in life, so we don't want to change anything about it. It is just not about usability, but what is the value that we are bringing to the table for the user if they're going to interact with a certain piece of product or an application or an equipment or anything for that matter. User experience, this is a big one. User experience is just not about the user. It is about the context too. If you are thinking, and let's take an example of our dinner setting again. If we have, let's see. All right. So, why that? It is just not about the user, it is about the context. And we were using an example of our dinner plate setting, saying that if we are in a setting of a picnic, we would not carry that much stuff because it is not the context, it is not the right place. We might not find the right picnic tables to lay the table that we had given the equipment. So it's just not about the user, but the context where the user will be using the design or the application that you have used, right? So we absolutely, the user experience designers should feel proud to find the sweet spot between the user needs and the business goals. And then make sure that the design is catering for the need and the context of the user that he is hoping for. User experience is not expensive. It is very flexible. Once done in the right way and at the right time, there is actually a ton of budget cuts that we can do because it is not requiring programmers to program it. It is not requiring QA testers to QA test it. And it is not even requiring anything to release it out. We are just showing the paper designs or designs on a screen by screen to the users and getting their feedback. So we are reaching to a comfort level where we feel confident that whatever design we are going to release to our users, and may it be a furniture design or may it be an application design, it is going to work for the users. User experience generally is a balancing act. There is nothing easy or difficult. If you know the tools that you need, like a design tool or a software, you know the methodologies to use it, those things become easy because more you practice, more you get involved in it. But it is more of a balancing act where we are getting the requirements from. What is the material that we are going to use? Who is going to develop it? Who's going to use it? We have to find a good balance as a user experience designer to make a product useful and desirable. It is not a role of one person or a department. Generally, US practitioners are liaisons between multiple departments like the engineering, like the product design, like the QA testing and marketing and all that. So they are not the subject matter experts. User experience designers get into a realm of, we want to know from the users, we want to hear from you what your requirements are. And then, as in point number 7, we are going to act as a balancing act to make a win-win situation for everybody who we are dealing with, whoever our stakeholders are. The greatest skill that the user experience designers know should be how to listen. And it is up to the members of the business to make it a success. And again, it is a collaboration because this is a multidisciplinary subject matter. It is not a single discipline. We would have to collaborate with our cross-functional teams here for it to be successful. And nowadays, having a good user experience is not a choice. It was there like that in 80s and 90s, where user experience design was after the fact where the engineering has done their work and we know what kind of wood is to be carved for a sofa set or a dining table. But now it is a means of survival. We have to know the basics before we get into the integrities. Okay. Now, very quickly pay attention to what I'm going to show. I'm going to just flash it for a few seconds and take it off. And then we can make it interactive session if you're interested, and then talk about it. Okay. Very quickly, what did you see there? And you can unmute yourself. Talk to me. Write it on the chat. A frog, a dog. Yeah. All right. So this is how we perceive things, right? So, oops. I think I am missing the screen. Should I stick with? I'll go back here. All right. I have heard many things what the perception of whoever sees this work of art. Whoever wrote that it's a dog, yes, it's a dog. It's a Dalmatian. But once I have told you that this is a dog, you will absolutely miss the shadow of a tree. You will miss that this is a crosswalk that the dog is walking on. Your attention is always going to go towards the dog. If you see this picture anytime and whoever said that this is not a dog are going to start perceiving this as a dog and not anything else. So these are simply the fundamentals. Like, we play so much with the perception of the users and we want them to believe certain things, which are, yes, there are different behaviors for the users to act on certain things in a certain way. But then there is some things that is coming out to be more widely known, widely accepted. Like use a button. Whenever we see a button on a screen, we know that we have to push it for an action to happen. May it be in a real world if you want to turn on and off something, or if you want to go from one screen pushing a button to a different one, we know that this is a universal action that we'll have to take. So this is all about how we teach and perceive and understand the human cognition and psychology to perceive things. All right. Some really basic fundamentals of user experience design. First of all, whatever you are designing should provide the useful content for whoever you are solving those problems for. You should know your users well, and you should also understand whatever you are designing, what the users are going to use that particular application or a product for. The second one is how convenient and easy to use the interfaces for the user. It should be clear. There should be clear writing on it. There should be logical grouping of the structure, like navigation always goes on the top. Action buttons have an action oriented to it. Wherever there is a hyperlink, the nature of the mouse changes from an arrow to a hand, giving an indication to the user that this is clickable. So the people should be able to use it without a recipe book or without what do you call that? Without the user guide, right? Um, if we know much about the utility and usability. We have to make it attractive to the users, either by interaction design or by the visual appeal of it, so that our users feel happy about using it. They should want to say that, oh yeah, this is something that I want to do, because it, when I complete my work, it may be a shopping experience, it may be a filling out a form, it may be applying to a college. Whenever we leave the user with a positive experience, it makes the information, like, information quotient for them, for those users, a lot higher, and they build trust um, um, by using that application, that, you know what, I feel happy about it because I got what I wanted. And last but not the least, consistency, brand. We would easily recognize what a Meta prior Facebook logo is, their UI is. We can differentiate Instagram from WhatsApp. We can differentiate Snapchat from this thing. We can really differentiate what is, a cotton, I would say, a bed sheet versus a mixed flannel bed sheet, right? That is the brand experience, which evokes emotion and appreciation from the users, is what the fourth and the brand experience to make an identity of your product, right? Um, so in totality, a good user experience is anything that is useful. That means the user has a need of it. They can interact with the product very easily. That means it's usable. They want to sit on it. The sofa is comfortable. I want to sit on it and I don't feel tired. That means when I am in a setting, and it may be in my drawing room, I always want to sit on that particular sofa. That becomes the desirability of it. And it has a brand identity. So we can recognize that, even it is the colors, or even if it is the logo or whatever that is, um, the product has an identity that it can be achieved for. Any questions so far? Nope. All right. Let's move on. Now that we know what a great user experience entails, how do we achieve it? There is a process to it. It is definitely not haphazard, where we'll see we are making design decisions, hearing from um, people around us, like, or even our gut feeling, like my gut tells us, or users would probably think that this would work, or I think the requirements from the business is this, or maybe I have to use this particular fabric. These are all like um, emotions and the perceptions in the air. You have not vetted it out with your users. You do not know exactly what that is. So what will happen in this particular way is, you are going with what you are thinking, you are designing, you are revising what is working, what is not. Your client who has given you a work to do for that likes it. And then as soon as the person likes it, we think that it is done. It is not that way, because if we treat the user experience design in this particular way, this is going to happen. The business requests a swing. The product team understands that, okay, a swing means it has to be on a tree, and they would put two ropes and a slab for anybody to sit on it, and it should be able to swing. But because this is like in the middle of a trunk, it won't be able to sway very easily. So they are like, okay, let's add, the designer is designing it. Okay, I'm like, I can add two supports on the branches of the tree and cut the bark of the tree so that the swing is able to go back and forth. how the developer understood that, the person who is going to build that application, is there's already a tree. All I need is a slab of wood and some rope, and that's pretty much it. What actually the customers or your users needed was a swing on a different type already. So to avoid all this notions of conception and premonition, it is very important that we lay our designs to what are we calling the user-centered design. User is always in the center. Whatever we are doing, problem solving, we always are catering towards those users. And it is very important to talk to those users and understand what their needs are, what their pains are, what are they expecting, what is their natural behavior of doing things, where do they look for information, right? So it requires designers to analyze how likely the users are to use a product. And it's very important that we validate from the users. We can make assumptions and take the designs to the users, but we should always validate it with them, that is this what you are looking for? Is this what is going to solve your problem? Is this how you would interact with the application? So again, the 5 phases of the user-centered design or user experiences design is: we start with the discovery phase, where we want to know what is the problem that we are trying to solve for. We define it, saying that this is what the pain points are. These are our problem statements, narrowing it down from the discovery phase. And then we start designing. We should validate the design with the users and then hand it over to the development team to develop it. It is absolutely not a full circle always. So this is an iterative design process where in discovery phase, you are doing the observations, interviews, competitive analysis or personas, and identifying what the user's needs are in a defined phase, where we create a point of view that is based on users' needs and insights. So that means we should be creating the personas, we should be creating the storyboards, we should be creating the journey maps and flow diagrams of how the information is going to flow and how the users are going to be involved in each phase. In the design phase, it is more about how we present information to the users. So brainstorming is a key aspect of the design phase, where we are creating multiple sketches, we are creating wireframes based on those sketches, and then giving a better look. Wireframe is more boxes and lines. Mockups is giving them a little bit of attitude and culture. And then where the information is going to be laid out, the layout design and the interaction design aspect of it. Validate is all about building a prototype of one or more of the ideas that we have brainstormed in the design phase and show it to the users via usability studies, eye tracking, heat maps, interviews, and so on and so forth. So what works for the users and what doesn't? Validation is a phase where you will be able to figure out how successful the product that you are creating is going to be. Usually, there are multiple iterations between validation and design phase. If you find out something is not working for the user in a usability study or an interview, you go back to the design board and fix it and take it back to either the same users or more set of users, right? And then finally, developing it is fine, but we need how we are making it successful. That means we should look for the success metrics. What is the usage of that application? How much time the users are spending on that particular page? We should provide mechanisms for the user to give their feedback. Because we tested it with a few users, we have a good confidence that it's going to work for most of the people, but there will always be feedback. There will be bugs. Some things might not be working, or there could be more feature or a functionality. So we should always be in connection with the users one way or the other to get their feedback. And then always work on the improvement plan, right? So this is all about the user experience design and what is the process we use for the user-centered design process. I will open it up to the quorum here and give another chance to our attendees to ask any questions. I had hold off on introducing myself before because this is what I do day in and day out. And user experience design is a major aspect of my identity. So I'll take your questions and then I'll introduce myself. No questions. I am going to stop sharing here. All right. Hello, everybody in Face. My name is Aashima Goel, and I am a user experience or a product designer for over 20 years in the corporate world. My experience mostly caters towards the enterprise experience and design. And then right now I am employed and I've been working at ServiceNow for 6 years, which is a direct competitor of Salesforce. You must have heard of Salesforce more than ServiceNow, but this company has beaten Salesforce, and not only in revenue, but also in experience as well. Before ServiceNow, I was a designer at Meta, which was Facebook at the time. I was leading a design team of 15 designers there, and that is what I do here as well. I do have a team of designers where we are working on different products. And most of them are B2B products that I'm working at ServiceNow. Before Meta, I was at Kaiser for about 3-4 years, Kaiser Permanente, where if you use Kaiser as your insurance, My Doctor Online is their patient portal, and me and my team were the pioneers of bringing that into life for our patients. Before Kaiser, I was at Dell and EMC for a few years. And then before that, I was with Cisco for about 6 years. And I started my career off as an individual contributor before I got into the corporate world. I have a degree of graphic design from San Jose State University, and I did my master's from UC Irvine in business management first. And then I did my second master's in human computer and interaction design from UC Irvine as well. On the family side, I live in San Ramon, which is in the East Bay, and I have a family of 4. My husband with 2 kids. My daughter goes to UC San Diego and pursuing her degree in neuroscience and biology. And my son is a senior this year, so he is having fun of his life right now because he's done all this application and stuff. But I'm really happy that he is inclining more towards design aspect of it rather than being in science. So that is me. I see there were some questions coming in via chat. So Tian asked that, how do you require a specific degree for this field? It is a good question. Yes, you should be aiming for having a degree in user experience design. You will not you might not find the direct degree of user experience design in many universities, But if you can get yourself into human computer interaction and design, or interaction design, or industrial design for that matter, or like, web design, even, that would work. Having a degree is beneficial, but do you need the degree? You need the expertise and knowledge. And if you are good in craft, I would not say degree is an absolute must. But if you want to get into a workforce, especially in the enterprises like this, unless you have a very good craft, I would always recommend to go in for a degree, or at least a certificate, to get into the corporate world. Any other question?
Do you think it doesn't matter if you have a bachelor's or master's degree when it comes to landing an internship or job in the industry?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have master's degree or bachelor's degree, you will be able to get into the internship programs very easily. Even if you are pursuing a degree, you should be able to get into the internship, because the requirement of an internship is that you should be having a valid student status in one of the colleges for you to be interning with a company. But no, you do not. There is no discretion in selection process if a person has a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. Although the stipend that you will get will differentiate. You will be making, say, for example, $35 an hour if you are an intern into the bachelor's program, but you will be able to get like 45 or 49 if you are into a master's, because that experience counts. But in terms of getting into the industry as an intern, as long as you're pursuing a degree, you should be good.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the questions, and the most commonly asked questions, is what should my portfolio contain so that I can land into a position where I am able to impress the hiring team and they call me for an interview. So first thing, clean designs. Whatever medium you are using to showcase your portfolio should be clean and easily accessible. Do not hide it behind a password. That is not the thing to do. Nobody is going to reach out to you saying that, hey, I want to look at your portfolio, but I don't know what your password is. So basics cleaned up. The other one is you should have complete use cases or the case studies from an end-to-end project. So we do in our class the projects. It is always good to have different activities and assignments associated to one theme, so that it will help you build your portfolio using a medium of this class too, right? So what that means is, if you know the craft and you have not created your portfolio from a complete use case study, create one, right? Simple artifacts like what is a user journey, who are the competitors if you are designing for a product, say Facebook, who are the competitors of the Facebook, what are the strong points of Facebook and what are the weak points, what are the areas of development and innovation there, and then create some come up with a problem statement, what we are trying to solve for when you are looking for a portfolio material, like what is the problem at hand and what is your approach in solving that problem. That will include all your artifacts that you will learn through these certifications. You will do the principles of user experience design, will contain what the heuristics are, what are the areas that a designer should be focusing on, what are the drawbacks of a particular site that you will be designing for, right? And then you can also include the wireframes, which are the iterative process, go with a mockup, create a prototype. And then even if you are not in a setting or in a job, test that out with a few of your friends, take good notes, create the videos and post that in your portfolio saying that, hey, these were the results, show the results of your usability studies. What did the users like and what did they not like? Never end your case study saying that, hey, my solution is a perfect solution. Always include the section which says, if you had to redo this again, what changes will you bring? What are the areas that you were not able to focus on when you first attempted for it, and how will you achieve it again? So a complete study is, I would say, in terms of a user experience design, is must. At least one, if not more. If you just have one end-to-end project, then start including your side work. Like if you have created an animation, if you have created a poster, if you have created a digital material for anything, if you have created icons, even photography, if you are interested in, so that whoever is looking at your portfolio would know that you know a lot of trades and you are an artist by heart and you want to get into the industry. If you can have more than one case studies, even better. I recommend not going in for more than 3, because again, the attention span of the users is less. They will not be spending so much time in looking at your portfolio for the case studies by case studies, because these case studies are long. You have to go through the entire process. What the interviewers are looking for in the experience of hiring either an intern or I would say an entry level position is your approach. What is your approach to the problem? Not the solution, because solution can be multifaceted, right? What is your approach to the problem, and what are the activities you did to make sure that you are going in the right direction of solving the user problems? All right. Any question on this? And I'll take more questions that are coming in the chat. Okay, so Carol asked, what is the Google searchable entry-level job title? Is it UX designer, or is there smaller roles for entry level? And are there any target companies? I'll answer your first question first, Carol. Look for, okay, first of all, create a LinkedIn account if you don't have already. And then if you go in for the jobs, look for user experience design, UX design, interaction design, product design, web design. You will get multiple entries of these at every level. And then you can look at those postings and see where your interest lies and what is the title of that job category out there that resulted you in something in the job description that you are interested in pursuing further. And I will seriously recommend to bookmark it and say that I want to receive notifications regarding these job openings in this area. You will start getting weekly newsletter with the new jobs and the jobs that have not been filled in so far. So LinkedIn creates a really good one. Indeed is another good platform for you to go and look for. Ladders is another one. There are multiple, but Carol specifically asked for Google. Search for the entry-level job, UX designer, UX design, interaction design, visual design also. If you are into like graphics, animation design, it depends, Carol, on what your area of interest is at that time. There are multiple jobs with all these things. All right. Elham asks, is UX design still a good career? I frequently hear that UX field is oversaturated and really hard to break in. How can we start as a junior designer? No, UX field is not saturated. There is still room for growth in there. I would take example of the company that I'm in service now. We have one designer for 40 developers out there. So there is always a need of the designers in the user experience and interaction design. And I forgot to mention before, research is another good part of it to get into the industry. And if you have that temperament of talking to the users, if you want to go into the analytics and analysis part of it, user research is another very good upcoming field within the gamut of user experience design. So that will require you to do the interviews, you do the analysis, you find the insights, and then you share it with the design team saying that, hey, this is what the users are looking for. And I went ahead and tested your designs, and this is what the feedback we got. So user research is another good field you can get that. But Ilham, no, I don't think ever user experience design will become a saturated field if you are keeping yourself aware and abreast of technologies. Like we started off with the web design, right? And then after web design came application designs, the smaller applications on the web, which are still very prevalent. Then the mobile took over, and now we are talking about the responsive designs, how the designs or an application will flow seamlessly if it is a mobile device or an iPad or a desktop and with different screens whatsoever. There is a very good VX design, or we call the visual design, is another field. If you are into more of the design system, like defining the components that is needed to create the experiences, like what the form is going to look like, a form field is going to look like, how the buttons are going to behave, what will be the states, what will be the colors, what will be the design, the color theme, what are the colors that can be used. So this is another field, which is the visual design and design style can cater to. So there are many offsprings of the user experience design, but in total, I don't think user experience design will ever die. It is so sad that it did not exist like so much and so prevalent 20 years ago. But with this upcoming fields of like, now we are requiring like UX designers for AI, right? Artificial intelligence, there is always progress happening. So if you have that progressive mindset, you will be able to land yourself in a place that you are able to enjoy your career in. You're very welcome. Any other question? We have 5 minutes. All right. If there is nothing else coming, thank you for joining this session. I hope it was informative for you. We are the entire DMA team here. You'll see Professor Janali and Professor Carol and myself. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us and we will be able to answer your questions. Again, I am opening this up. If you want to review your portfolio with me, anytime, any number of times, I am open. I'm here to help you guys. So take an advantage. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate this. Take care. Have a good day.